Hi, Patrick here. Welcome to Dollar Theater. Dollar Theater is an ongoing series where we watch and review films from that we get for $1.25 or less. And one of the movies I actually got for $1. I got this from the late Family Video, and it's actually one of my favorite martial art action films. Action, yeah, I guess martial arts in it. It's not a pure martial arts film, but it has martial arts in it, and it's based around a heist, and it is from 2003, and it is Cradle to the Grave, starring Jet Li and DMX, and a whole cast of this cast is really good. I love the cast of this movie. It has Jet Li in it, DMX, Gabriel Union, Mark Dacascos, Kelly, who earning her bad girl reputation in this movie. More on that in a minute. Uh, Melvin Smalls, Anthony Anderson, Tom Arnold, Paige Hurd, Michael Jace, Ron Yun, and Chi McBride, one of our favorites, Chi McBride. And let's get into it, shall we? So Anthony Fait is played by DMX, and he and his crew of thieves, high-end thieves at that, they are elite, and they break into this massive vault and to steal these diamonds. They're stealing them for a gentleman named Christoph. Christoph is himself has employed Fate to get these diamonds for his client, a gentleman named Ling. Um, so I go ahead and do that, and they go ahead and get black diamonds for their client, and they get a bunch of cool loot for their own selves for their trouble. But in the middle of the heist, lo and behold, Fate gets a phone call from none other than from Jet Li, who plays Sue, who basically gives them a warning. He says, "Leave now, leave the diamonds. The cops are on the way." And so, so the boys and the girl, they all have to bail out a little bit sooner than they wanted to, and they're gonna have to escape. They're gonna have to outfox the cops. The cops are there in force. They managed to escape. They managed to escape. Well, Fate and his lovely lady Darla, played by Gabriel Union, they escape, but unfortunately, Miles does not. Jet Li catches up with them, and he basically takes their cut of the diamonds, thinking that he's gotten the diamonds he's looking for, where in fact they're not. They're worthless to him. Whew, sort of weird how that was said. So consider they're stealing millions of dollars, but Jet Li's like, you see him this disgust. He's not happy with what he's got. So anyway, so they now the crew's got the black diamonds, and so but Sue calls him back up and says that he tells Fate to leave the diamonds behind, to give him the diamonds, and but unfortunately that doesn't happen. So Christoph doesn't have them. Now he doesn't have them, and and now he's in trouble with a gentleman named Ling, who has turned out to be the one who hired him to get these diamonds, but he has lost them. Tony Fait decides to put his diamonds in a safe spot, so he goes to his friend, and he tells his friend, hey, can you go ahead and hold these diamonds for me? So make sure they stay safe. And that's his friend, who's a big fence in L.A. named Archie. And unfortunately, it seems like that Ling is not the only one that knows about the diamonds, as a L.A. criminal named Jump Chambers also knows about them, and he moves in on Archie and takes the diamonds. All this leads to interaction between Sue and Tony Fait. They keep running into each other, and Fate is not a violent man. That's not how he does business. He is a master thief. He does not get his hands dirty, and so he doesn't want any part of any violence. But unfortunately, it seems like that's going to happen because after Ling finds out that Christoph doesn't have the diamonds and that Fate does, he kidnaps Fate's daughter, Vanessa. And then he tells him, he says, I don't have the diamonds. They're gone because of the Jump Chambers has stolen them. I don't have them. He says, well, you better get them back or else, your daughter. So that puts Fate and Sue together. They now have a common enemy, and so they're going after the diamonds, and it leads them to the different. Jet Li is working with he's working with Archie, in trying to get him back on his hand, and Fate is trying to get him back from Jump Chambers, and one of those two crew is going to find part of the crew is going to find it. Unfortunately, Ling finds him first. Actually, he finds him first, and he basically kills Jump Chambers and pretty much his whole inner circle, despite Jump Chambers being incarcerated. So that leads to a big fight at the airport where they are fighting for these diamonds, who turn out not to be diamonds at all, but weapons of mass destruction. And so they're not diamonds in the typical sense, but they are weapons. So that is really the reason why they need to get him back so badly. Plus, Sue wants revenge, as Ling and him were best friends at one time. And then Ling betrayed them and pretty much killed his whole squad, leaving Sue the only one alive. And so he wants his revenge. So at the end at the airport, everybody has a big brawl, and everybody gets their fair share of screen time and action. Yeah, this is a fast ass movie. It is wickedly fast. It's interesting too, is I like this movie quite a lot. If you're an action fan, man, you're all over this. I tell you that right now, you're all over this. This movie really has been tinged in sadness, though. Believe it or not, this movie, yeah, there's some tragedy involved with this. First of all, let's talk about DMX. DMX could have had it all. I mean, he was a movie star in the making. Of course, he broke out as a rapper, and then he became then he started doing acting, and he was doing very well for himself. In fact, this was the second movie that he did with director Andre Bartowick, whereas he had done a minor role in Romeo Must Die. He went back and got Jet Li for this movie. So this is his first main role, starring role, and I loved how the fact that they cast, they put the names over the title. They put DMX equal with Jet Li. They put him up there with Jet Li. I think the studios had a lot of hope for him to become a big star. And I think he would have been too. He had the looks, he had the style, he had of course, his very distinctive voice. This movie here it's more tailor made for him than it was Jet Li. Jet Li really is the main support in this movie. And what's really cool about this movie, what could have been really cool about this movie, was it didn't need Jet Li. It didn't need him. It didn't need him to get him over. This movie also could have launched the franchise, to tell you the truth. Though the critics didn't like the film itself, and there is a reason for that. At least, and I'll tell you what my thoughts about that were. The main audience did. The movie was made for only $25 million, but it made almost over $60 million back at the box office. Plus, it was a very, very, very popular movie on cable, and home video. I think what really hurt this movie in one regard is it was heavy, and it was interesting dialogue for the first quarter of the movie. There was some dialogue. There's people acting against each other. But it seemed like about the halfway point, almost to the halfway point, it just went to a series of just fights and action pieces. And that's great. I mean, like I said, if you're an action lover, this movie's all over for you. I mean, you're here. But for those like myself who like a little bit of more dialogue, like I would like to know how I would have loved to know more about every character in this film, their backgrounds. We don't get that. We don't get that at all. We just get like we just walk in here and we're just following them. And there's not very much dialogue for the last half hour. And while the action is great, it comes at a sacrifice of dialogue, and that sort of hurts the film. And considering that the screenplay was written by John O'Brien and Channing Gibson, with the main script being done by John O'Brien, that's a little bit surprising. That's a little bit surprising. Um, I mentioned earlier about the cast, and also has Anthony Anderson in it. Of course, we saw Anthony Anderson also in Romeo Must Die, where he played a bad guy, where this time he plays a good guy. And he's very funny in this. Anthony Anderson is that guy's a hoot. He could do anything. A lot of people see Anthony Anderson as a comedian, but don't sleep on his dramatic skills. And if you doubt that, go back to Law and Order. Anthony Anderson can bring the heat. He's a good dramatic actor when needed. The rest of the cast is just absolutely stacked. You got Gabriel Union as Daria, and Jesus Christ, she looks awesome. Gabriel Union is one beautiful lady, and so is Kelly who I talked about. Like, how come she always has to play the bad girl? She always plays the bad girl. She never gets to play the heroine or the romantic. But in this movie, she shows you why that she gets that reputation, because her character Sona is just wicked. She is mean. She is a mean girl. And her and Kelly Hu's final fight, it's pretty damn good. It's pretty solid and both the girls they're not small. They're good sized young ladies, and the fight scene between those two was one of the best I've seen outside of a Cynthia Rothrock movie. Of course, the other ones we have here are Tom Arnold plays Archie, and also Michael Jace. We got to talk about Michael Jace. He played Odeon, which was Jump Chambers' right hand man. And we mentioned how this movie has a little bit of sadness to it. And Michael Jace, well, as we are doing this review, he is sitting in jail. He was convicted of killing his wife. He is a locked up man. He is never getting out. So, unfortunate, very unfortunate. Very sad to see that happen. And other cool things about this film, because I don't want to sit on the sad part. Other cool things on this film were like during the fight scenes. This is one of the first fight scenes that featured UFC fighters in roles, and that featured three of them. That featured three well-known ones. It featured Randy Couture, and it featured Tony Ortiz, and also featured Chuck Liddell in a big massive fight scene. Badass fight scene. A little bit probably overdone, but I still enjoyed it quite a bit. Overall, like I said, this movie is a badass. It's badass. I would recommend it to everybody. And again, though, it is tinged with regret, as man, what could have happened if DMX had managed to just keep on the straight and narrow. There's no doubt in my mind he would have been a major star at this point in his career. He had it all. All right, this movie you can get I believe you can get on both on Blu-ray and DVD. You can probably get that at all your eBay and Amazon. It's pretty common. I see this out in the wild quite a bit. I think they made a lot of these DVDs. I think they printed out a ton of them for the audience, because I see this movie out quite a bit. I'm looking for it on Blu-ray, though. If I can find it on Blu-ray, I would get a copy. There's a couple of special features and a movie and a music video. X is going to give it to you, of course. And of course, this also has a dope-ass soundtrack. So those who enjoy that into the movies, well, you got that as well. All right, well, that's it for our review for Cradle to the Grave here on Dollar Theater. If you like this movie, if you like this movie and you have some comments about it, go ahead and drop them down in the comment section. Drop it in the comment section and let us know what your opinion is about it. What is your opinion about DMX? Do you think that he would have went on to become a big star, or were they just lucky with what they got? I think he would have been a big star, there's no doubt about that. All right, Cradle to the Grave, Dollar Theater. We're out of here. Peace.